Hi, everybody. Happy Monday to you. I hope you are well. Hotter than blue blazes and not a breeze. Whew, it's warm. But hey, I want to touch base with you on a couple of things today. One is in the last few days, I've noticed an uptick in really nasty comments, not necessarily directed at me. You know, I got big shoulders, I can take it. But when people have been engaging in comments on different posts on this page, let me just say that if you use vulgar language, we hide your post, so nobody sees it. I'll just be honest with you, other than you. So you can go back and look at the vulgar word and go, hee, hee, hee. But nobody else sees it, okay? But otherwise, we pretty much allow free reign. But don't be stupid. Mimes that are insulting, or memes or whatever they're called, that are insulting or inflammatory to whoever you're trying, don't do them. There are plenty of places for memes, but not in our threads here, okay? And if you've really got something nasty to say, don't say it. You know, the old saying, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all. Well, if you don't have something nice to post, don't post it. Just please. All right. I like to be respectful. Now, that doesn't mean people can't get passionate, but you can be passionate without being a jerk. All right. So I know social media is that place where you can, just type whatever you want and nobody can say or do anything to you, but please be respectful. So with that, just a couple of thoughts on a passing scene. Last week it was, I guess, Friday, Saturday, whenever it was, President Trump signed a couple of executive orders with regard to unemployment pay and taxes and things like that, because he felt that Congress was dragging their feet, specifically the House and Nancy Pelosi. So just a couple of quotes here. One I think is interesting. The other one I think is actually pretty funny. One comes from Hillary Clinton, not too surprising. Called it a stunt, unconstitutional, bypassing Congress. But the one that really caught my eye and made me chuckle was from none other than our own governor, Gretchen Whitmer. And she, commenting on what the president did by signing these executive orders, said, "Once again, the president has refused to work together with Congress on a bipartisan plan recovery package." You point one finger, 3 point back, right? Madam Governor, you've been doing that since the end of May with your own legislature. So maybe the press is just taking a page out of your playbook. I don't know. I just thought that was funny, because it's like, are you kidding me? We're trying to work with the governor, but she just refuses to listen and talk. So that's the frustration. So once again, the appellate court heard our case. We're waiting to hear what the appellate court rules. Whichever side loses is going to appeal the 1945 law to the Supreme Court. And that law is what is given the governor what she believes is unilateral power. We get rid of that law and we go back to co-equal branches of government, and then we just have classic bickering like we normally do, as opposed to one-person rule that we have right now. And so I think that's funny. Once again, the president has refused to work together with a Congress on a bipartisan plan recovery package. That's a good one, Governor. That's funny anywhere. All right. A comment I want to talk about. I posted the article. It appeared in Sunday's Detroit News, their editorial section. And it is my discussion about emergency management in the state of Michigan. Now, I read some of the comments that folks had, and of course they immediately go to that this is just a way to pick on Whitmer, and it really isn't. Let me tell you, I have been involved in one way or another around the emergency management system of Michigan for 20 plus years, and over that time I have continued to see a system that is broken. And again, 48 other states have an independent emergency management system. Only one other state, Connecticut, has its state police involved, and that's because I'm told Connecticut is a much smaller state and they do things completely different there. Michigan really is the last state fully Michigan, state police oriented. And here's why that system really doesn't work. Michigan doesn't have emergencies and disasters like Florida with hurricanes or earthquakes, California, or tornadoes in Tornado Alley. We have blizzards, we have power outages, we have big storms, we have flooding, we have polar vortexes, we have dam breakings, we have coronaviruses. We do have our share of emergencies, but they generally, until this one, have been kind of regional, so we don't really pay attention, and MSP has gotten away with it. And what's happened since 9/11 is that emergency management in this country, in the world, has done this in its sophistication, in its planning, in how it can break things down. Michigan has done this. It hasn't gone anywhere. So here's the deal. Think about this. We deserve a robust emergency management plan, and I believe that the governor has kind of, in some of the comments I've gotten from emergency managers around the state, is that even with her executive orders, they waited until real time, till it was released to the public to find out what it was. For example, fishing in a boat with a motor. They didn't find out until the 3 o'clock press conference, right? So, and now the governor has gone to online Zoom press conferences where all questions have to be submitted ahead of time. So nobody's ever going to really ask her a tough question anymore, or they might, but it'll never get answered. But anyway, so back to emergency management. They're finding out about this in real time, and they have no chance to plan and no chance to reach out to the people in their county to make this stuff happen. And that's just disrespectful. But that's kind of how the governor tends to work. So we've already taken a system that's busted or severely limping, and we've added a situation where the governor doesn't respect it and really do much with it. Now, here's another thought. As I watch from the outside, about 2 weeks into this whole pandemic, they took the captain of emergency management. I don't know his name. I knew it, but I can't remember. It doesn't matter. I don't want to embarrass him here. But they took the captain of emergency management and they promoted him. And they brought in a guy who had been in a district post for 8 years, not really dealing with emergency management. They brought him in. Now, my question is, why would you move the guy out just when the biggest thing hit? The only thing I can think of is that he was a really nice guy, and they gave him a really cushy job where he didn't have to do much because they liked him, and he got a nice pay bump. But then it hit the fan, and they had to say, uh-oh, Charlie over here ain't going to cut it. We better get somebody in here who might. That's part of the problem, is Michigan State Police, please hear me. They are great cops. I love them. I salute them. But they are not solid emergency managers. It is not a priority. They have district coordinators, the way the state's set up. I think there's 8, maybe 9 districts. And they bring in these district coordinators. Now, some of them have been good, not all of them. I'm not knocking some individuals. I am complaining about the system, okay? Maybe not an individual who's actually done a good job for MSP, but overall the system stinks. So they bring in district coordinators, many of who have no idea about emergency management, and they got to learn on the job from the locals who are trying to keep things rolling. And that position, that district coordinator position, in many ways happens historically. 2 things happen. It's a cushy job for a guy or gal on their way out, so they can have a nice cushy post for a couple of years before they retire. Or it's that climber, nothing against that, who gets the district position and then moves on. Now, here's the other part that's going to be really a big fight if we can make this happen and create an independent agency of emergency management like 48 other states. Now remember, this would take it out of state police and create its own Office of Emergency Management under the governor. It'd be a cabinet level position, all right? This governor and every governor after. What happens is there is a large chunk of federal money that comes into the state and goes to MSP. Where does that money go? Very little of it trickles down to our local emergency managers. Now think about it. Emergencies are local up. You know, you watch the movies and there's the disaster and everybody thinks the army floats in and the government takes care of everything. Emergencies happen in your backyard and move up to the federal level. That's sometimes kind of hard for people to understand because it's not how it's portrayed in the movies. But there's a lot of money that could be going to support our local communities and their emergency management efforts that I don't think ever filters down through the MSP hierarchy. And that's not right, because that money should be used for that. Now, I'm going to get a lot of blowback from the Michigan State Police. I get that. And I joke to people that I'm probably going to start getting stopped on 127 on my trip to Lansing. But I feel strongly about this. I have watched this for 20 plus years, this rather lackluster, this rather Mayberry RFD, Barney with one bullet kind of approach to emergency management. And the people of Michigan deserve more. And we saw that with the polar vortex. That thing was handled all wrong. All right? And then we moved into flooding. I was on a conference call with the guy, of all the people in the state, telling us about emergency management with regard to and how the state was responding to all our lakeshore flooding. I've been in radio for a lot of years. I understand voices. I can hear things. The guy who was reading for Michigan State Police was reading it. He wasn't telling me what MSP was doing. He was reading what he was told MSP was doing. And I believe that was the captain, as I remember. I didn't take notes of names. I should have. So I've seen this happen through the years. MSP is a great organization as a state police force. They are not the people who should be in charge of emergency management. And 48 other states have come to realize that. It is time for Michigan to evolve. As I said in the op-ed, emergency management at one point was the guy who knew where the flashlight, Band-Aids, hoses were. Not anymore. This is a high-level coordination of understanding of what's going on and the rules and regulations and what agency can do what and what agency can do that. And it is not a priority with MSP. It hasn't been for years. And I think that the COVID situation here has really proved that out when it comes to PPE procurement, when it comes to executive orders and their implementation. It goes on and on and on. So I think this is a very important part of our discussion moving forward. This is not necessarily the sexy side of fighting and arguing about the coronavirus, but I think it is a massively important one, because I think if we really had a strong emergency management corps, our governor may be making decisions differently, because they would be trained professionals who knew exactly what they should be doing. And maybe they'd be pushed back, maybe they'd be agreeing, I don't know. But I don't think right now MSP is respected much as emergency managers by very many people in the state. I'm sure there are people who do, but I'm sure those people were on their payroll at one time or another. I'm sorry, I'm just calling it as I see it. You know, when I was running for office, I said that I've got a pretty good BS detector. And through this whole COVID thing, my BS detector's been going off a lot. Some of it I can talk about, some of it I can't. But eventually we'll be able to. So that's where I'm at today. I want you to understand, if you're saying, Jack, what op-ed? It's posted on this Facebook page. Scroll back a couple, you'll see it. It was posted on Sunday. It is the op-ed that I wrote that the Detroit News ran. So I appreciate them doing that, because it's an important discussion that we need to have. So I plan on forcing that discussion to happen. So with that, I'm going to leave you for a Monday. And again, let's be nice to each other when commenting. I'm sure there's going to be some snarky comments here tonight. There always are. Like I said, I got big shoulders. I just scan through them. But don't be mean to each other. That's not right. Through this whole thing, whether it be masks or no masks or whatever, I've said, let's be respectful to each other and let's be kind, because that is a huge part of being in a community, I do believe. Might not agree, but we can respect each other's opinions, even if we disagree with them. All right? So with that, I'm going to say goodnight. Hope you have a great Monday. Talk to you again on Wednesday. Roger Dodger, over and out.